Hey, welcome everybody to the SideQuest, the We're Still Recovering edition of video games. I am Dali Domovsky. Joining me is the one, the only Aaron Scratty Bones Kelly.
What's up?
And that's it. Nobody else.
We waited a day
And
just to get more people in here, and it didn't happen.
And things got worse. That's all right. It's been a long week since our epically long 3-hour show last week. So
yeah, that was a thing.
Yeah, that was a thing. How you doing, Aaron?
I'm not as hungover as I was the day after that show.
I was a little buzzed that night. I do decree. I'm just drinking coffee tonight. I don't know what you're drinking.
I'm drinking Fireball coffee and soda.
I'm mixing them all together. That's how you guys do it in Canada. Well, excellent.
You know, if we were smart, if we were smart, we would have done a follow-up to last week's show and gotten Dave on here to talk WrestleMania.
Yes. Shit.
I watched it.
I did too, actually.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We should have got him.
Oh, crap. Ah, well.
Yeah, next week.
Yeah.
Next week when there'll have been, I think, 3 Raws since that show and 3 SmackDowns since that show.
Next week, 2.
2, because there was
one this week, 1 Raw, 1 SmackDown.
Yeah. So there'll have been 2, and then we'll record. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you? Fuck it. Did you enjoy WrestleMania?
Did I watch it?
Yeah. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I actually liked it. I managed to catch the matches that I wanted to see most. I guess was the I caught both of them. It was the now I'm drawing a blank.
Kofi Kingston.
Thank you. It was the Kofi Mania match, and then I saw that, and I actually caught the women's championship match.
That one kind of fell flat, huh?
It fell a little flat, yeah.
Well, you caught.
But I wanted the man to win, so
you caught the mess up at the end, right?
No, what happened there?
There was supposed to be a pin on Ronda Rousey, and her shoulder came off the mat, and that's why the ending kind of felt a little weird, like very sudden, because they had to very quickly go, oh, we got to end this. It's supposed to go to Becky.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that was why it was like that weird, like out of nowhere hit and then pin. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Well, that's okay. So that does explain it then.
Yeah.
Got it. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Kofi match was great though.
That was awesome. I collectively saw a bunch of overweight white dudes on Twitter, hundreds of them, thousands of them, all weeping in joy. So it's always a good sign.
I didn't like the Shane match as much as I thought I would.
I didn't catch that one.
It was
The Miz, right?
Yeah, it was Shane and the Miz, and the Miz is the face right now, and Shane is the heel, and it got into some like weird like daddy issue territory, and then it's a Shane match. So of course there's like, some big hits and big falls and stuff like that, and those were all fine, but it was just like, come on. I prefer Miz as a heel and I prefer Shane as a face. So having them reversed, I'm just like, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, I prefer the Miz as a heel as well.
And I missed the Brock match. It was the only one I didn't see the Rumble, and I didn't see the Seth versus Brock match.
Did Brock win?
No, Seth won.
Oh, if we can't use the hashtag Brock won.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Monday. I watched Monday Night Raw the next night, and Seth was out there with the championship, and then Kofi showed up, and he's from SmackDown. And he showed up and he challenged Seth to a winner takes all match. So everybody the whole night was just like, oh shit. And then of course it gets interrupted by 2 more guys from SmackDown. Mm-hmm. And so nobody won anything, and the crowd was not having it.
Oh, that sucks.
As soon as the match got interrupted and the bell was and the DQ bell was rang, the whole crowd was just going like, this is bullshit.
But I mean, it's setting up like some, because they got the Becky Lynch has both belts right now.
Yep.
I could see them sort of do some weird unification stuff in a weird way. I don't know.
Well, it's cool too, because
first champ.
So the match got interrupted, which prompted got interrupted by Cesaro and the Irish dude, whose name I can never remember. Sheamus, thank you. And so
the palest,
red-haired
dude on the planet.
So Seth was like, "Fuck it, Kofi, you and me, let's tag team against those two." And so that was like the match, and it was cool. But the superstar shakeup is next week or this week. Like it's coming up where people from SmackDown get put on Raw and people from Raw got put on SmackDown. So I'm kind of hoping, not that I want the New Day to break up, but I think it would be cool to have Kofi and Seth Rollins on the same show, because if they're setting up like a tag situation for those two, that could be kind of cool. I like those guys.
It is next Monday. You're right. The Superstar Shakeup is next Monday on Raw and continues next Tuesday on SmackDown Live. There you go. SmackDown's moving to Fridays on Fox pretty soon too. So
yeah, that's not going to do well there. People got shit to do on a Friday that they don't have to do on a Tuesday.
Yep, Fridays are the toughest thing, that's for sure.
And on Fox, like, does anybody watch Fox? Like, I know it's like America's most watched network or whatever.
The news station is. It's America's most watched news, basically an opinion network, but
right.
So it's not. I would say like NBC is probably the most, or ABC is probably the most watched network.
The only thing I know about the Fox entertainment channel is that that's where shows go to die. Because like anything that gets put on there tends to get canceled really quickly. Like, isn't that where that's where like Family Guy was when it got canceled, and I think that's where Futurama was when it got canceled, and like that's where Firefly went to die, and a bunch of sci-fi shows that only ever got one season because nobody watched them because they were on Fox on like a Friday at like 7 p.m.
Well, it's here. Speaking of Fox stuff, what's interesting is Disney today announced, and we're diving into all kinds of stuff. Disney announced that their Disney Plus is going to be $6.99 a month, which is cheaper than Netflix, obviously. But they're bringing over The Simpsons straight to Disney Plus, and they're like totally touting. I'm gonna retweet this real quick because it looks pretty cool.
I saw the Marvel segment of that, the confirmations. So the shows that are confirmed so far are the Scarlet Witch show, which is apparently called WandaVision.
Wow. Okay.
The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, and they're doing an animated show called What If, like the comic line.
Yeah, the comic. I'm excited about that one. Totally.
Yeah, dude.
Let's see. I'm looking at some of this stuff. Oh wow, they're totally talking about the Fox stuff. They're saying From the Sound of Music to Malcolm in the Middle. Malcolm in the Middle was a Fox thing. So that was cool. Yeah, there's all kinds of crazy stuff. They got World According to Jeff Goldblum, so that's always good news.
Sure, Jeff Goldblum, that's relevant.
Yeah.
He's certainly he's been in the limelight recently, I guess.
Jeff Goldblum has?
Yeah, like, has he done anything since Jurassic Park?
Well, he did Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Oh yeah, he was the dude in that. All right.
And then the Star Wars stuff is they actually have a couple new Star Wars shows. So they talked about The Mandalorian, which is Jon Favreau's new show. That's the first live action Star Wars series. But they're also bringing back Diego Luna and Alan Tudyk from Rogue One, and they're going to have their own series based on Cassian Andor.
So set like
right before, I guess,
set in between 5 and 6, I guess.
No,
that's 3 and 4.
In between 3 and 4, exactly. In between 3 and Rogue One, I'd say is probably.
I guess, yeah. Because it's not like they can set it after it.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And so Sebastian Stan, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That's an interesting one.
I mean, I'm into that. Although like that one's very interesting to me because I didn't know anything about what's his name? The guy that plays Falcon. What's his actual name?
Anthony Mackie.
Anthony Mackie. I have never actually heard anything about his contract with like Marvel Studios, but Sebastian Stan was signed on for 6 pictures.
Yes.
So he still had like 3 more movies left. up till now. So he still has Endgame and 2 movies. So this TV deal, like, how does that change things up? Like,
yeah, I'm very curious. Well, what's really interesting about this, and I think people are, there was a lot of thought going into. Well, we've dove into totally not gaming stuff, but who cares? It's called The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and not The Falcon and Captain America, because a lot of people thought that Sebastian Stan's Winter Soldier would take over the Captain America reigns.
Yeah, totally.
So this is a good sign that that's not happening.
Well, this could also be a prequel too. This
could be, I guess, but
because the way they wrote Falcon out of Ultron was that he was on the mission trying to hunt Bucky down for Cap.
That's true. That's very true.
So that could be the Falcon and the Winter Soldier could be like that period of time where Falcon's out in the world, like doing shit and trying to find Bucky.
I guess so, but they don't find him until Civil War. Yeah, and then they find him at Civil War, and then they dump him into a cryo chamber in Wakanda. Yep. And so it's the Falcon and the. I guess maybe they cross paths here and there. I don't know. Who knows?
Because there's a period of time there. Like,
yeah, that's a great point.
I don't even remember what movie that comes up in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Because Winter Soldier happens before Ultron, and then Civil War happens after, right?
Yes, correct.
So it's if I was to guess, it's set after Winter Soldier, but before, I guess, before Civil War. If I was to guess, that's where I'd stick it, because all the other time is accounted for. Like before that, they don't know Bucky's alive, and after that, Bucky's been found. He's like, they find him and they fight him in Civil War, and then he's a good guy, and then he goes to Wakanda and he's in cryostasis. So like that period of time, unless it's said after Endgame and it's just those two like pounding around in like a buddy cop show.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it might be a buddy cop show. I would rather watch that over the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's for sure. I'm actually really surprised that they have not announced. I'm not surprised, because I think Netflix had the rights to their Marvel shows, like the names, for like another year or so, that they could do a Defender series with all these different characters. So I'm curious how that's all gonna tie in, because they've completely written everything from those shows out of the Marvel cinematic.
I was so on board for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when it first started, because like I like Phil Coulson. And then in the last season, he finally dies again. Like, actually
supposedly
dies. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, finally, I can stop watching this show. And then the teasers are like, hey, check this out. There's a bad guy, and it's the guy that plays Phil Coulson, but he's not. Or is he? And I'm just like, fuck, now I got to watch this. What are you doing to me?
I fell off of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So I really liked the first 2 seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I thought that was fantastic. The first season especially was awesome with the whole Hydra stuff. And then it started getting into like space shit in season 2. And they turned Daisy. They really revealed that she's an Inhuman and all that kind of stuff, and kind of started playing up the Inhuman things in season 3.
Which really fucked things up if Marvel gets the mutant license back, because Quake is a mutant, not an Inhuman. And they used Inhuman to explain away all the characters that they wanted to be mutants.
And they even made an Inhuman TV series that bombed.
That was actually based on the Inhumans. Which,
yeah. And that was like. And they had this whole Inhuman subplot in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for like an entire season. That was
more than that.
It was, it's actually, you're right, more than that. But that kind of went nowhere. I didn't like the characters they were pulling, and it was really forced. It was their way to do mutants. I mean, I could almost see an X-Men like style TV series instead of a movie series, right?
Well, so
that may be a way to bring some of that stuff into the MCU.
I was talking about this with a friend the other day, because there was, leading up to especially like the Avengers movies, there's always leaks online, and like 95% of them are people just making shit up that sounds believable. Yeah. So there was one the other day where it was like, I got all the inside details, and it was like blah blah blah, generic plot points, and then they said, and then the second end credit shows a guy walking down a street, and then claws pop out of his hand, and it cuts to black, because now they can use mutants. So And so apparently it's been totally debunked.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, like, does that, like, could they use Endgame as like a continuity reboot, and that's how they bring in like new actors for the like Wolverine and mutants? And
I'm hopeful they do, because the MCU right now has gone into just crazy territory, right? They're in places right now where it's more cosmic than it is Earth. I mean, everything now is cosmic Marvel. It's no longer Earth Marvel. You don't have heroes that are just, I think what was so engaging about the MCU early on was that the Iron Man, a dude could be Iron Man. I can totally see some guy who's just really smart making a suit. I can kind of believe Captain America with a super serum. There was, you had the Tesla.
You could believe Captain America up until Ultron, where he starts doing shit like heaving a motorcycle hard enough to crush a truck.
Right, exactly.
Before that, it's just like, well, he's a really, he's super athletic, but within reason.
Yeah. And they've kind of gone into just like crazy territory with Marvel, which, I mean, though it's fun, Captain Marvel right now is, I think the stuff that happened in Infinity War and then Captain Marvel and it's going to happen in Endgame here it's so like, it's like, well, the Earth is just a tiny little piece of this entire giant universe. And and Captain Marvel even says, I think in the movie trailer, they ask her, where have you been this whole time? And she said, there are other planets or whatever, something to the effect of, well, there are other places that need saving. It's like, oh, okay, well then Earth isn't all that important anymore.
Well, are you big into the comics?
Yeah, I've been getting back into them. Yeah.
It's like, it's basically established in the comics that basically everybody out in the universe knows about Earth and hates Earth. Like they think Earth for some reason just breeds like ridiculously powerful destructive beings, and they're all assholes, and everybody hates Earth. Everybody's just like, no, I'm not gonna, like, fuck off, I don't want to help, go away.
Yeah. That's awesome. That is one good explanation. I'm curious if they're able to tie some of that into, because they're bringing in the Eternals into the next big phase of Marvel, because the next phase of Marvel is a reboot, right? It's for the MCU. Whether they're building up from other characters, other movies, but I think it's more of them just kind of saying, hey, we're gonna have a whole bunch of new characters and a whole bunch of new themes, and we're kind of getting rid of some of the older stuff. But you have folks like, there's still a Black Widow movie coming out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's that, and she's part. I mean, they've been talking about how the original Avengers, this is their last movie, and so they're this is the final film for Captain America. Probably Robert Downey Jr., probably Chris Hemsworth. In a way, I can see the three of them. This is it. But then we found out, I mean, Hawkeye, there's a Hawkeye movie coming, or TV show coming. There's a Black Widow movie coming. So it's not the, maybe the main characters are gone, but
the Hawkeye thing is cool, because if what I heard is true, it's him teaching Kate Bishop how to be Hawkeye, which means all of a sudden you're opening up avenues into like the Young Avengers and shit like that, which would be rad.
I would love that too. I in a weird way, it's kind of cool that they're taking these Avengers and they're saying, thanks for these great movies. It's time for you guys to retire to television series.
Right.
Hawkeye, a Winter Soldier, that kind of stuff could be kind of interesting.
But yeah, it's weird because they've got some characters that are like at the end of their contracts, but then and then you're thinking like, all right, they're going to move into the weirder shit, like the more obscure characters. But then it's like, I mean, they started with Iron Man, and like nobody really remembers this, but Iron Man was not a popular character before that movie. Like, he was a known character, but he wasn't popular. Like Thor was never a popular comics character. He was cool. Like, people liked him as an Avenger, but like solo Thor, like nobody really ever gave a shit.
Same with Captain America. Cap wasn't Batman. I mean, it was Marvel was Spider-Man, right? I mean, Spider-Man and a few other folks. I think maybe the Spider-Man and then X-Men, and then sort of the Avengers team or universe, but not really individual characters. And Marvel really did a great job of reversing that, so that Iron Man and Thor and Captain America are they're arguably bigger than Batman and Superman these days. But here's a few of the things that Marvel has coming. All right, so they have in later this year they have Spider-Man: Far From Home. So I can kind of see a young, you have a young actor, Tom Holland, taking Spider-Man forward. So that's important. Captain Marvel, there'll be a sequel to that. There's a Black Widow movie coming. You have Shang-Chi, which is a new character to the MCU, but a longtime character in the comics. I think that's almost like they're trying to wipe away Iron Fist and bringing in Shang-Chi, which is a much cooler sort of Eastern style character.
I like Iron Fist.
Yeah,
I hated the show.
Oh, I love Iron Fist, the character. The book in the comics, he's fantastic.
Yep.
Doctor Strange 2 is getting Doctor Strange is getting a sequel, which is kind of interesting to me because he's actually an older Marvel character. He kind of predates a lot of the folks that are in the MCU right now, but he's relatively new to the series. So I'm curious if what's going to happen to the team of Avengers if he's basically taking over for Cap and Stark in a way, right?
Well, and he's funny too because he's another character that never really had the popularity of like the mainstream characters. Like there was a point where Doctor Strange didn't even warrant his own comic. Like he shared a comic with Cloak and Dagger, who have their own TV show that I don't think ties into the MCU at all.
Let's see here. The Eternals are coming. That's going to be a big part of their the MCU. Black Panther 2. I'm just going through a couple lists right now. So there's still quite a few things, and Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
But that's a ways out.
That's probably 2022 at the earliest, right?
Because James Gunn got hired back, but he's like, I'm doing Suicide Squad 2 first.
Yep, which is next year, I think. Suicide Squad is coming out 2020, and then that'll be 2022. And then there's you're gonna have at least another Spider-Man movie. You're gonna have Black Widow, Captain Marvel. And I could see like maybe one more Ant-Man film popping in there, more than likely. So they still have a few things, but
one more Ant-Man film would make sense because his daughter is on the Young Avengers, isn't she?
Yes, yeah, I think so.
Cassie Lang is like Goliath or something. Giant Girl.
I think Giant Girl, right?
Cassie. I'm gonna look it up because I can never remember.
Scarlet Stature, and S. Stinger as well.
Yeah.
So she's the both, basically. Cassandra Lang. But I could see the Young Avengers. A Young Avengers would be really cool if they kind of take that direction, I would actually love to see them do sort of this ultimate universe of Marvel.
Oh, dude, I would die.
Oh, dude,
I was always a bigger fan of the Ultimates comics than the 616 comics for the most part. So like, Miles being in 616, Miles Morales, like that's awesome. And I hope they do that shit in a movie. Like I hope Miles Morales is like a main character in the next Spider-Man game. But like,
Cassandra Lang is technically 616 as well.
Yeah. But could you imagine if they rebooted the universe to add more Ultimate stuff into it, to bring Ultimate's characters in, and they go with Ultimate Hawkeye?
Oh, God, yeah, that'd be awesome.
Oh, man.
Marvel has a lot of cool things they can do with their universe right now that it's actually kind of exciting. I do sort of want them to reboot it in a way that makes sense, so you still have some of the realism, I guess, in a weird way, because, what they did with Iron Man, I think they need to do with some of these other lesser known characters and make them a little bit more realistic, just so like you have you had Captain Marvel and she shows up and her technology that she gets dumped onto Earth is already centuries ahead of what Tony Stark is doing with Iron Man's gear, right? So it's we already see lots of technology way better than what Stark is doing. So I don't know. I'm excited for Endgame. We'll see what happens with the stuff. There's a lot that Marvel has to play with right now. They essentially have and by the way, no one's mentioned it, but the fucking Fantastic Four are back into the Marvel fold, and I could actually see them pushing instead of Avengers movies, Fantastic Four movies. I mean, that would put them right back into it.
Like that's another one where, like, if it was me, I would go the Ultimates route because people, it hasn't been long enough that people don't remember how shitty those movies are.
Yeah.
But could you imagine if Marvel was like, we're doing a Fantastic Four movie, it's gonna be great, and then they stay tight-lipped, and then you go into the movie and it's like an MCU movie, except it's like Ultimate Reed, and it's him becoming the Maker.
Oh God, that would be amazing. Would be amazing. I think they'd probably keep it a little bit more. I think in that case they would blend the current, Earth with the Ultimate stuff, because I think just like Spider-Man, I think the Fantastic Four are so well known in some of their stuff that you could start off with like the current Marvel MCU and then bleed the Ultimate stuff in there, in a way. So at least the Fantastic Four, but because that last movie was atrocious with what they did to Michael B. Jordan and some of their characters and how they mixed everybody up so poorly. So whatever, it's cool. They got a lot to play with. We'll see where it goes. Let's talk about video games right now for the rest of the show. How's that sound? We've been talking for a half hour. I said it was gonna be a short show. We've been talking for a half hour.
Well, don't worry.
Fucking talked about video games.
Here's some video games. I played Tropico. I played and beat Tropico 6.
Let's talk about Tropico 6.
It's okay.
Review went up last night.
Yep, review's live. I like it. I like city builder games. I think I said in the review, it feels a little weird to play this game in the current political climate. But yeah, I mean, Tropico games always start out and they seem relatively short, and then eventually, like they're pretty good about like expansions and stuff. Like I think Tropico 5 has like 6 or 8 expansions, something like that. But yeah, so it's 15 missions. You can probably beat each mission in an hour or two. So there's how much time you're looking at. There's a multiplayer mode, and every time I tried to look into it, there was nobody playing. So I couldn't test it. But I think multiplayer is just free play with more people.
I've run into a couple games like that recently too, with some of the reviews that I've been doing. That there's like nobody available for some multiplayer stuff, which is kind of bums me out because you want to try some of these things, but.
Well, it's rough too because we actually got Tropico before it launched, which means
right before it launched.
Right before it launched, but if we're not coordinating with other people also reviewing it, there's no way to get a multiplayer game going because people don't own it yet.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, it's okay. It plays well. It plays like it's better than 5. 5 was like this weird sort of experimental game, like in terms of features and stuff. Like it did a bunch of weird stuff, and a lot of people didn't like it. And this is closer to Tropico 4 than Tropico 6. With more stuff. So yeah, it's cool.
Cool. So yeah, it's more Tropico. I mean, when was the last time you said, like 2015 or
2014 was Tropico 5. So it's been 5 years.
Is this one's not on consoles right now, is it? Or is it on consoles?
I think it is.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I can double check really quick, but
PS4, Xbox One, Windows and Mac and Linux and Steam. So it is on everything. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. This is the kind of game I'd love to try on console just to see how it functions, because you play. There's like tons of strategy games on and like world building stuff on consoles these days are starting to pop up more and more. Like Stellaris is obviously like one of those sort of that type of game, but I'd be really curious to see how this starting to make that transition, because we haven't seen it on these, or did we see it on the more modern consoles? I can't even tell anymore. Anyways, more of these types of games on consoles is great, I would say.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, Tropico 5 was on PS4 and Xbox One and Xbox 360. So, all right, that's good. So that's all you've been playing, Tropico. Tropico's thumbs up from you. Okay.
Yeah. Played Tropico. It was fine. It's got some bugs, but I'm sure they'll get ironed out.
You just hide your camera so you can put your pants back on or take them off?
Nope. My camera is a piece of crap, and I have a replacement here that I haven't plugged in yet.
Nice. Excellent. I have, let's see what I've been playing. Yeah, I haven't been playing a lot. Since we recorded last Friday, more of Yoshi. And that's an adorable ass game. That's I like it. It's very nice, very good. It's not
Yoshi's Crafted World.
Yoshi's Crafted World. It's a Yoshi game. I'm holding my Switch right now as I'm trying to do stuff. And it's probably the best Yoshi game in the last 7-8 years. If there were, I mean, there have been a lot of Yoshi games since then, but yeah, I don't know. It's accurately Yoshi. It's not as puzzle based, I guess, as some of the previous Yoshi games. So for anyone else, Yoshi and Kirby have become these sort of really family friendly games, especially Yoshi. Very easy platforming. It's more like traversing rather than true platforming. It's not like you're trying to avoid giant ravines or do anything crazy. It's just getting from one point to the next. But it's a really good looking game. They nailed the crafted yarn cardboard shit pretty easily. Stuff pretty easily. Yeah, I mean, if you're a Nintendo fan, you might want to get it. It's nothing. It's kind of a nice game to just play. You know you're gonna beat it. It's very easy. But
do you still cannibalize people and shoot them out as children?
You still cannibalize. Well, no, actually, you cannibalize enemies and people, and you shit out eggs because all Yoshis are asexual, so they can they can do both. But you can grab those eggs now and throw them at other enemies and murder enemies instead of eating them. So the one thing that this game does is it obviously has a sort of crafted theme, but lets you shoot the eggs in a sort of the foreground and the background, which lets you open up some secrets here and there and little treasures and stuff. So it's a little bit extra. Nothing amazing. Let's not Super Mario World 2 level of Yoshi, but it's enjoyable. I've also been playing Reigns, the Game of Thrones edition of Reigns. So Reigns is that sort of Tinder-like swipe card game that's out for like mobile devices and I think everything else, PCs and that kind of stuff. But there's a Game of Thrones version. Just started playing that today, which is weird because the original Reigns, for anyone that's played it, it's almost like this never-ending game, right? You just kind of keep swiping, and you have eons and eons and eons of kings and queens and princes, and you can be evil or you can be good. And if you don't like where you're going, you can kind of end your quest and murder yourself essentially, and then move on to one of your progenies. But the Game of Thrones version adheres a lot more to the Game of Thrones ethos on the Game of Thrones info. Oh, sorry, I'm tired. The Game of Thrones canon. That's probably the right way to say it. And so you can't be as, I've noticed you can't be as like
incestuous.
Crazy as
that's canon.
Like that is canon. You can't be as. It doesn't seem like it's going to be as long of an experience as sort of the open-ended Reigns game. So I'll have to play around with it a little bit more. But it'll be what I play when I'm watching Game of Thrones on Sunday when the new season starts. So that's something. And that's basically it. I'm still playing. There's a game I'm playing for review, which I can't talk about yet, but I can in 2 weeks. The game, yeah, I think I can talk about it in a couple of weeks.
We got that long lead time.
Yeah, we got a great lead time on this game. In fact, we got 2 codes for it, so that's always a possibility. I can't tell you what device it's, what platform or device it's for. So, but yeah, sorry, peeps. And that's basically it. I'm about to hop into trying to get some more Dad of War. I gotta finish that fucking game so I can start Spider-Man. But it's been like we're moving. Here's the problem. Because we're moving, we've been getting these showings at like 7 o'clock at night. We'll get a notification at like 5:30 that you have a showing requested at from 7 to 8 p.m. And so, okay, yeah, we want to sell the house, so go ahead. People can show up. So that means we're away from the home. Can't play games. I'm like most of the gaming I've been doing is on my mobile phone, and you guys don't want to hear about Angry Birds Dream Blast or He-Man idling games anymore. And that's like been my whole life lately. So I haven't had a chance to like really sit down and start a game because it's, by the time I get back to the house, I have to catch up on everything that I missed when I was out. So it's been kind of weird. So I've been enjoying playing the Switch. But other than that, it's been, it's kind of a little bit of no man's world at this point. So hopefully my house sells pretty soon here so I can get back into real gaming, but whatever. Let's get into some news though. We can talk about some gaming news and how amazing Sekiro is as a hard or easy game. Just kidding. That's all I got. What do you want to talk about news-wise?
I only got a couple things here.
Yeah, let's do it.
I might as well bring this one up since you mentioned Sekiro. Speedrunners have gotten the start to finish run down under 30 minutes.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
It was less than a week ago that the guy who had the world record clocked in like a 31.5-minute run and said it probably wouldn't be possible to get under 30. And now people are already under 30.
Brilliant.
It's a really funny run to watch. Because, like, you know, a lot of it's a speed run, so a lot of it's out of the map and stuff. But the parts that are in the map, like just moving, like using that grappling hook and like just traversing, running past enemies, like it's so fast if you know exactly where you're going. But yeah, so that's fun. You can change your name on PSN. Finally, who's from the PlayStation blog. I just threw that out there in case people didn't know, and then I wrote down goodbye Weed Bonner 420 lit. Hello, respectable name.
You know what's funny is you can. Somebody tweeted this out earlier that you can mess with people's names if you don't like them. You could just kind of put up a complaint about their name and force a name change.
Yeah, totally.
So if I don't like somebody, I'm going to force a name change. Is basically what you're telling me.
When I was when I still used to play World of Warcraft, like we're talking,
I remember that game. Yeah,
we're talking like 2005, 2006. I played an undead warlock named Gorbachev, and Russians would report me for disrespecting, you know,
that's amazing,
Mikhail Gorbachev, and so I would get free name changes all the time. So I would just use alternate spellings, and then like every 5 or 6, finally, like a GM would be like, "You can't have this name," and so I would just pick something I knew could be reported, but was innocent enough that I could get away with it. Wait a couple weeks, and then have somebody report me intentionally and change back to Gorbachev.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
GORB4CH3V.
I think at one point I was like GOERBYCHEV, like Gorbachev.
Gorbachev.
But yeah.
I love it.
Octopath Traveler's coming to PC June 7th.
Yes, it is.
I might play that.
It's a good game. I like it.
I'm only saying I might play that now that it's just us on the podcast.
Shh. Fuck you, Tom.
Yeah.
Shh. Fuck you, John. Shh.
Oh, John would love it. John
would love it. John would be like, finally. Let me throw one thing in here that I'm just reading right now. And then we'll hop back into your stuff. We were just talking about Disney Plus. It is confirmed to be coming to consoles. The PS4, the Xbox One, and the Switch are all getting the service. So there you go. Interesting.
Yeah.
I did not know that Disney actually owns the Hulu right now, or has like a majority share.
Disney owns everything.
Disney owns everything. Remember when they were like struggling for a while there? People thought that Fox would buy them and they were going to fold, but nope, Disney owns it all.
It's a little ridiculous, kind of scary, but
slightly. What else you
got? So Tim Sweeney,
we know him.
Friend of the show, Tim Sweeney, head of Epic. He's been on Twitter a lot, like the last 2 weeks, basically doing impromptu Q&As, sort of like trying to damage control the Epic Game Store backlash. So basically, any day you can find a new story covering stuff he said. But the one that I thought was interesting was somebody asked him if the Epic Game Store was going to have like forums like Steam does and trading cards like Steam does, and he was like, "No." He was more verbose. He had said, "We aren't planning to develop a trading metagame, e.g., cards, around the Epic Game Store. Gifting games, achievements are on the roadmap. Epic doesn't plan to host third-party game forums, but we encourage developers to link to independent forums like Reddit on their store page."
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah. Which, sure.
Yeah.
The card thing, it seems like a lot of people are kind of unhappy about that, but yeah, why would you copy Steam for the bullshit thing that sort of made developers flood their platform with bullshit?
I have a bunch of bullshit cards.
Totally. Well, I mean, you know the whole thing behind that, right?
What was that? To the resale stuff?
Yeah, because developers get a cut of every time a card is sold.
So it's just more money for the developers.
Totally. So they make a shitty asset flip, and it has cards, and then the cards get out there, and people go, "Oh, cards!" And you know they buy the game for 18 cents or whatever, and then they get like 4 cards out of a drop, and then they sell the cards, and then those cards get sold to collectors, and so on and so on, and eventually, like the developers made way fucking more money than they would have.
18 cents, yeah. They made like even if they make like $1 on these games, it's like that's nothing for them. Wow. Okay.
But yeah, so that's why there's that. It was a real problem a couple of years ago. But yeah, so there was that. The only other thing I had, because it's been a very slow news week, is Horizon Zero Dawn 2 may have been leaked.
Oh, really?
So there's a clip on Twitch of a fan talking to oh fuck, what's her last name? Janina. She was in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Janina G something. Janina Gavankar.
Okay.
She's a character. She was like the lead character in Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Uh-huh.
So there was a clip on Twitch of a fan talking to her about Star Wars, and the fan says something like, it's kind of fun. Like, it's awesome I'm talking to you. Like, Horizon Zero Dawn is what got me into gaming. And just unprompted, Janina was like, oh man, there's so much stuff coming in Horizon Zero Dawn 2. Like, I know so many secrets. You're going to die a lot. It's going to be crazy. Can't wait for it.
Oh,
it's never been confirmed or anything. So
I mean, we knew they were working on it because it's just.
Oh, sure, but
I mean, I don't want to say we knew they were working on it, but come on, that made a ton of money for them. It sold really well. It's a great character, so yeah, you wanna keep it going.
Yeah. So, I mean, as of right now, that's a rumor. There's been no, as far as I know, or as far as I've seen or heard, there's been no comment on it since. But that clip is floating around. So.
I fucking hear your fingernail clipping.
Yeah.
What would be great is if you were just doing your fucking toenails. Start clipping your toenails live on air. That'd be awesome.
I was doing a hangnail on my thumb.
Yeah, those are the worst.
But and that's all I had. That's it. That's all the news. That's all the news that happened this week. Nothing else happened.
Well, because we had PAX East a couple weeks ago, GDC the week before that. So it's like this really weird, well, not weird, but really slow period right now until probably. It's going to be like this for a couple more weeks until like probably early May when we start getting the E3 stuff. Because you have Rage 2 is coming out like one of the first couple weeks of May, I think, right? And you have a couple game releases between now and then. I know tomorrow I'm picking up Labo VR, so I'll give that shit a try. Oh, we didn't mention it the last time, but the Mario and Zelda are coming to Labo VR.
Yeah, Zelda's playable entirely in VR. Yeah. Mario has 3 micro levels.
3 micro levels, and then you can watch every cutscene in VR.
Cool.
It's getting some pretty good reviews, I guess, which is really weird because the funny thing about the Switch with VR is that when they first released the Switch, they talked about this little sliding device thing, and everyone's like, "Oh shit, that's got to be it's got to be easy for VR." And then so somebody created like a VR YouTube page for the Switch and a dumb little cardboard app, and everyone's like, see, Nintendo, put VR on this thing. You guys are missing a huge opportunity. It's the perfect screen. Do VR for the Switch. And Nintendo didn't do VR, and people got upset. And then finally Nintendo said, okay, we're going to do VR. And the immediate reaction was, well, that's stupid. The Switch can't handle VR. Why would you do VR? It's not powerful enough. So Nintendo then kind of showcased some of the games and projects that are coming to it. They're like, well, okay, yeah, we know you can get some VR to work on this, but you really need to have real big games in VR. So now Nintendo says, okay, you're going to play Mario and Zelda in VR. And the responses right now are yet again, well, it's just not going to work. Why would people want to play Zelda in VR anyways? That game is not designed for VR. Nintendo's making a big mistake going into VR with the Switch. And I'm like, okay, everybody was yearning for it 2 years ago.
Mainstream Nintendo fans are Nintendo's biggest enemy.
They totally are. Totally are. For me, I'm thinking if it works as VR, which it seems like it might, it'll be kind of an interesting thing. I'm not going to play Zelda. I'll give it a shot just to kind of try it. I'm not going to play more than 15 minutes of Zelda in VR, and I'm only going to do it just to try it out and a few of my few of the visual vistas and standing on top of mountains and shit that I want to see, and then I'll plop that game right back into regular S mode and play that way. So I mean, I'll give it a shot. We'll see what it looks like. And then, I mean, everybody knows that Labo drops in price very quickly. So if you don't pick it up tomorrow for the 40 or 70 bucks that it is, I think it has those two prices. Wait about like 2 to 3 weeks, and it'll be half that price. I think you can actually go to, I think Target a couple weeks ago had all their Labo stuff for 20 bucks because they were clearing it out.
Labo just kind of makes me laugh because, you know, it's Nintendo, so, you know, it's neat. But somehow Nintendo made a Toys to Life product that nobody considers a Toys to Life product, except the stores that are carrying it because they need to get rid of that shit fast.
Yep. That did not last very long. And Nintendo did a really bad job marketing it. They, I mean, there's some cool ideas with Labo, but it was hamstrung by you not being able to share software with people. At least I don't think you can. Like, there should have been this online Labo hub, this educational hub where you could, you know, where schools could just share the files back and forth. I mean, that would have sold a hell of a lot more Switches that way to schools at least. But Nintendo really missed the boat on Labo, because the best part about Labo isn't the experiences that are on the cartridges that you buy, but it's all the shit where you can like legit create games and stuff in Labo, but you can't share them with anybody. You can just kind of show the step. It's like, it would be like reading those old magazines that had those old PC magazines that had all the lines of code in there. And that's how Nintendo is expecting people to share Labo, Labo creations. And you can't do that. You need to have sort of this online marketplace or something, just because that would help get people more interested in utilizing Labo.
I have to imagine that they maybe sort of hoped people would stream themselves using Labo.
Yeah.
But most people can't do that for the same reason that most people can't fuck with VR, because we just don't have the room. Like I have a camera. This is my camera. Right. This is my wall. Like, it's less than an arm span.
Yeah, there's no space to do. I mean, you need a whole other person to hold a camera and zoom in and out while you're putting things together. Now, is it fun to put this stuff together? Oh yeah. I mean, my kid and I liked building everything in Labo. Really fun. Everything worked. Everything was surprisingly well done. Like, even the stupid fishing game and that original variety kit was great. I didn't pick up the robot kit or the racing kit. I might, because the prices have dropped so much. But so it all came together really well, and the experiences are kind of these fun, short little games, but it went nowhere beyond that. It was like, hey, look, you could play with cardboard for 20 minutes. You could build a cardboard for 3 hours, and then you got 20 minutes to play with it, and then you're completely bored, and you never want to put it. I mean, ours are sitting in the closet behind me. We played it, that first weekend, and that was it. So
you want to hear a very shameful story?
Sure.
When I was a very young child, I got a refrigerator box. I still am, but when I was very small.
That didn't happen. You were never very small.
I had a refrigerator box that I used to pretend was a rocket ship. I was probably 5 or something like that. And then I just started eating it.
Eating it?
Yeah, just taking bites out of the cardboard and eating it.
That's why you are the way you are today.
Yep. I don't know why. It's not like I was hungry. Like,
no, kids do that kind of shit. My daughter, when she was little, in her crib, we would come in the mornings to get her when she was awake, and notice that she had like bite marks all along her crib. She was just chewing on the crib. Maybe you were just a late teether. That could have been it. You were just really late in your life.
I remember specifically at one point, it was like, I need a window in my rocket ship, and so I was like trying to like bust out my finger through cardboard, and like a 5-year-old doesn't really have the kind of strength to like push through cardboard, but I managed to tear a little hole, and so I was like gnawing at it, and I was
and you just kind of swallowed by accident.
I wouldn't say by accident.
You're half hamster is what you're telling us. Man, your fibrous poops must have been amazing back then. Well, that's it for the show today. We'll end it on eating cardboard as our final point.
Now I drink whiskey straight out of the bottle.
Well, yeah, everybody does that. Every good person does that. Where can we find you, Aaron?
You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at ScrattyBones. And fun fact, I have a new computer, which means streaming is finally going to be able to pick up again.
Good, you're starting to make money again. You can afford stuff once in a while.
I got all these parts for free.
Okay, that helps.
But yeah. That was a hell of a thing. Putting that together. Turns out I don't like building computers. I'm very bad at it.
You have a desktop that you built? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm torn between. I'd love to build like a hot desktop, but I know that that the minute I'm done with building it, it'll already be obsolete. So I might as well just buy an obsolete product right away, like a laptop. So that's been my issue with desktops is that no matter what I build, it's already out of date.
I'm in a really weird position now where my laptop at work is pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
But it's a laptop, so it's going to obviously be less powerful than a desktop. But my computer and my laptop at work are basically comparable, which means anything that I'm playing for review at home, thanks to like cloud saves, I can just be playing at my day job.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I played Tropico like at my day job. And then Steam, and then of course, like Steve's. This is the first time I've ever used Steam's like cloud feature, like their save feature, and they corrupted, and I had to start the whole thing over.
Oh, geez, yeah,
that's lost all my progress. And as far as I can tell, that was straight up a Steam thing, so I didn't talk about it in my review.
No, I mentioned it to the reviewers, to the publisher. That's why one of the reasons why it took us a little bit longer to get this review out. So
yeah, but like I didn't include it in the review because I'm almost positive that it was an issue with Steam's cloud saves, and I wasn't able to reproduce it. As soon as it happened, I was like, all right, I've played enough that I can probably write this, but I really should try and reproduce this just to see if it's the game or if it's Steam. I couldn't do it again. So,
well, you switch to Epic from now on.
Oh, I've got it.
You can find me at Dolly Domovsky. I think I'm the same thing everywhere. And you can find us at SideQuesting and SideQuesting TV on the YouTubes and the Twitches, where we're slowly going to transition to once I get situated over here and I get the new website layout up. We're going to have a new website design. It'll be pretty cool. Well, maybe not cool. Maybe just a little bit more effective. Let's just leave it at that. And then that's it.
We're gonna have a new website design. Full stop.
Full stop. We're gonna have a new website design. That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah,
Twitter, SideQuesting. Hey, thanks everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're slowly recovering from that 10-year birthday anniversary thing from last week, but we'll get there. So we'll have some cool guests coming up as well. A lot of folks have mentioned that they'd love to be back on the show or come on the show for the first time. So. But, all right, that's it.
And I'll be here too, probably.
What's that?
I said, and I'll be here too, probably.
Yeah, I think you and I are the only ones that have been on like every show over the last. Actually, no, you weren't on the PAX East show. Yep. So, sorry. All right, we'll see you. We love you guys. Bye.
Peace.